He may not say it out loud, he may not even fully understand it himself, but when a man knows you're the one, his entire energy begins to shift. It's not always dramatic. He may not look at you and whisper those exact words, "You're it, you're my person," but you'll feel it in the way he moves around you, in the way he starts to show up, not because he has to, but because he wants to. Men don't always express love in grand declarations. They express it in decisions, in details. And in the quiet, subtle ways, they start to make room for you in a life they used to guard so tightly. He'll prioritize your peace, even over his pride. He'll cancel distractions, old habits, temporary thrills, even his ego, because keeping you feels more important than protecting his patterns. And that doesn't come from pressure, it comes from clarity. You don't need to constantly ask him where you stand. He'll show you, not in perfect words, but in consistent action. Not through promises, but through presence. He'll make time when it's inconvenient. He'll reach out when he's overwhelmed. He'll open up even when it's uncomfortable. Because when a man knows you're the one, he stops looking for the next best thing and starts protecting what he's found. You'll see it in the way he listens, in the way he remembers, in the way he wants to understand your world, not just be entertained by it. He's not trying to win you over with charm. He's trying to build something that lasts, and that's how you'll know without him ever saying it. When a man knows you're the one, his love becomes something deeper than words. It becomes quiet commitment, steady loyalty, and intentional effort. So if you're still wondering whether he knows, stop listening to his lips. Start watching his life. Because a man in love might not say it right away, but if he knows you're the one, he'll never let you feel like you have to ask. When a man sees your worth, he naturally wants to protect it. He starts giving you space to be vulnerable without judgment or interruption. He listens, really listens, not just to your words, but to your fears, your feelings, your silences. He doesn't rush to fix you, he just wants you to feel safe around him. This safety isn't demanded, it's offered, quietly, consistently. He starts becoming the person you exhale with. Not because he solves every problem, but because his presence calms every storm. You don't feel like you're performing or tiptoeing, you feel seen without having to explain yourself. And when you finally let down your guard, you notice he's still there, not running, not withdrawing, just holding space for the real you. You stop monitoring your every emotion, you stop wondering, is this too much, or will he pull away if I speak up? That's when you know emotional safety has been established, not in perfection, but in his patience. He doesn't flinch at your depth. He leans into it like it's the very thing he never knew he needed. The beauty is in how unspoken it feels. He never has to say, "You can trust me." His energy says it long before his words do. You find yourself slowly unfolding in his presence, not because he pushes, but because your nervous system is finally at rest. And that's something your soul will recognize long before your mind catches up. Emotional safety isn't about him never upsetting you. It's about how he handles your heart when you are. He listens without rushing to fix. He gives space without pulling away. And in his calm presence, you stop second-guessing how much of yourself you're allowed to show. With him, you start sharing things you've never said out loud, not because he pries, but because he makes you feel safe enough to be seen. There's no fear of being judged, no sense that your emotions are too much. You're allowed to feel, and he stays through all of it. His love doesn't try to overpower you, it softens you. You begin to feel grounded just being near him. You don't have to walk on eggshells. You don't have to explain your worth. Because with him, your vulnerability is met with presence, not punishment. When you cry, he doesn't shut down. When you're silent, he leans in. He doesn't panic in the face of emotion. He invites it. And through that quiet consistency, you begin to realize this isn't just affection. It's emotional anchoring. The most telling sign is this: you stop hiding parts of yourself, not out of confidence, but because he's created a space where you don't feel the need to. His presence becomes a form of permission to be soft, to be honest, to be you. His actions don't vanish when he's busy. He doesn't hide behind work or chaos. Even when life gets loud, he reaches out, he follows through, not because you remind him, but because he remembers Men who know you're the one don't let days go by in silence. They show up through effort, not excuses. He doesn't just show up when it's easy. He shows up when it matters. You're not waiting for a mood swing to determine if he's present today. There's a steady beat to his effort. It's not flashy, but it's dependable. And that's the kind of love that builds emotional security. He doesn't check in when he remembers you're already in the rhythm of his thoughts. When men are unsure, you'll feel it in the silence. But when they know, it's in the follow-through. He doesn't say he cares and then disappear for a week. He doesn't act interested when it's fun and distant when it's hard. His consistency isn't performance, it's a reflection of how seriously he sees you. You stop feeling like an afterthought. You stop rereading old messages hoping for reassurance. Why? Because he's already given it to you through action. He makes time even when there's no time. That's how you know he's not prioritizing the moment. He's prioritizing you. Consistency isn't about texting every hour. It's about showing up in a way that doesn't leave you anxious. You're not checking your phone to see if he disappeared. You already know if he says he'll show up, he will. He doesn't go silent when life gets hard. He doesn't use stress as an excuse to disconnect. Even in chaos, he makes effort, not grand gestures, but thoughtful consistency. A voice note, a check-in, a reminder, you matter, even when I'm busy. With him, love isn't performative, it's dependable. And that dependability builds something rare, emotional regulation. You stop wondering if you're too much or too needy. His steady rhythm soothes the parts of you that used to be triggered by silence. He doesn't disappear and come back like nothing happened. He doesn't leave gaps for confusion to grow. When he knows you're the one, he gives you something no one else has. Emotional stability without conditions. The biggest shift, he stops needing reminders. You're no longer managing the relationship. You're no longer teaching him how to show up. He does it naturally because when a man is sure about you, he shows it daily. He doesn't try to manipulate your boundaries or test how far he can push. Instead, he honors them, and through that, you start to feel safe, respected, and understood. He doesn't pressure you for more. He meets you where you are and earns the right to move closer. Trust becomes the foundation, not an afterthought. He doesn't treat your boundaries as inconveniences. He treats them as invitations into deeper respect. He doesn't guilt you into changing them or use charm to bypass them. Instead, he honors the distance you need, the pace you set, and the voice you use to define your emotional space. That's where real trust is born, in how your no is received. Most people hear boundaries and think walls, but a man who truly sees you understands your boundaries are the blueprint for connection. He doesn't need loopholes, he doesn't need control, he just needs your honesty, and he meets it with grace, not defensiveness. That's not manipulation, that's maturity. The trust you feel around him doesn't come from how much he pushes. It comes from how much he waits. His patience tells you he's not here for a version of you he can rush. He's here for the real you, even if it takes time. And that kind of respect feels safer than any "I love you" ever could. A man who knows your worth never punishes you for having boundaries. He doesn't roll his eyes, get distant, or test them. He listens. And even if he doesn't fully understand, he respects that you said no for a reason. He sees your boundaries not as rejection, but as an invitation to rise. He leans into them with curiosity, not control. You don't feel pressured to compromise. You feel empowered to be yourself without explaining why. He doesn't push for more than you're ready to give. He doesn't turn patience into guilt. And in that space, you begin to trust him more, not because he demands it, but because he earns it moment by moment. His respect creates a sense of peace inside you. You're not worried he'll cross the line. You don't feel the need to over-explain. He's not trying to break your walls. He's walking with you until they fall on their own. And slowly you begin to soften, not because he asked you to, but because he proved through his patience and presence that he's not there to take, he's there to build. From casual plans to long-term dreams, he gradually invites you into the spaces that matter. his family, his goals, his fears. You no longer feel like someone waiting to be chosen. You feel like someone who's already been integrated into the path he's building. This isn't about labels, it's about energy, about how easily you begin to fit without forcing it. He doesn't guard his schedule like a secret. You're not a maybe waiting on a slot to open up. He includes you not because he's trying to impress you, but because he genuinely enjoys building life with you. And you realize he's not hiding you, he's weaving you in. That's not a favor, that's alignment. You no longer wonder if you're too available or too hopeful. He makes you feel secure without you having to bring it up. You're not waiting for a title to know where you stand. He makes you part of his world organically, as if it's the most natural thing in the world. And you feel it. You're not a guest, you're becoming home. It's in the little things. He asks your opinion when he buys something. He shares moments from his day just to feel connected. He makes space in his future and doesn't even realize he's doing it. Because when a man sees you as his person, he doesn't plan around you, he plans with you. He starts talking about the future and you're in it, not in some vague way, but in specifics. You're not wondering if you'll be there, he's already placing you beside him in every plan he makes. He introduces you to his friends and family, not as a trophy, but because he wants the people who matter to him to see who's become important in his world. It's no longer just his journey, it's becoming your shared story. You don't have to chase inclusion, you don't feel like you're waiting on the sidelines. With him, you move from visitor to partner. Slowly, steadily, he makes room for you in his routines, decisions, and life rhythm. It's not just that he wants you now, it's that he's planning for you later. Whether it's a trip, a home, or just next weekend, you're not a guest. You're part of the foundation he's building. And here's the most powerful shift. You feel chosen without having to ask. You don't wonder, does he see a future with me? You know it, because he's not just telling you, you're watching him build it around you. When conflict arises, he doesn't storm off or shut down. He leans in, he chooses repair over pride. Because when a man knows you're the one, he values the relationship more than being right. He protects the connection because it means something to him. He understands that love isn't just about how you feel, it's about how you handle each other when things get hard. He no longer walks away to prove a point, he stays to fix what matters. Arguments don't end in days of silence, they end with mutual understanding. That's not weakness, it's wisdom. He knows love isn't about always agreeing, it's about never letting distance become the answer to discomfort. He doesn't weaponize your feelings. When you're hurt, he doesn't say you're too sensitive. When you're upset, he doesn't twist it back on you. He slows down, he listens. Because to him, being right means nothing if it leaves you feeling wronged. He values resolution over power. You feel safe even in conflict. Why? Because he doesn't argue to tear you down. He argues to build the relationship back up. He's not defending himself against you. He's standing beside you with you, against the problem. And that's how you know you're not in a game, you're in a partnership. When a man knows you're the one, he stops letting his ego run the show. He doesn't escalate over misunderstandings. He listens more than he defends. He wants peace more than he wants to win. He doesn't weaponize your emotions. He doesn't mock you when you're hurt. He sees your pain as a signal to lean in, not pull away. Because to him, this relationship is sacred, not a battlefield. When conflict comes, and it will, he doesn't storm out or give you the silent treatment. He faces it, not because it's easy, but because you're worth the discomfort of growth. He's not afraid to say, I was wrong. He doesn't crumble under accountability. He takes responsibility for how he shows up, because keeping your trust matters more than protecting his pride. You'll feel safe in the hard moments, not because everything's perfect, but because he's willing to fight with you, not against you. And that's how you know this isn't a man who's just in love. This is a man who's ready to love well. So if you've been wondering whether he knows, stop searching for perfect words. Start paying attention to the quiet consistency. Because when a man knows you're the one, he doesn't always say it first, but he shows it in how he chooses you, in how he protects you, in how he lets you in. And the most powerful kind of love, it doesn't chase, it doesn't convince, it simply shows up and stays. Nanlon, if this resonated with you, don't just sit with the clarity, live it. Tell me in the comments, have you ever felt that he knew, even if he never said it? And if you're ready to stop guessing where you stand and start becoming the woman who never has to ask, subscribe to Love Unlocked, because this is where you stop settling and start choosing